Hello and welcome to the Connection Compass. I am your host, Andrea Louise Evans. To find out more about my work, please visit andrealevans.com. Have you ever felt unseen, unheard, or disconnected from yourself, from others, or from the world around you? In a time when rejection, burnout, and loneliness feel more common than ever, how do we reclaim true connection? Settle in and listen as I introduce the work that I have created over the past 7 years. Today, I'm going to talk about the Connection Compass Framework, which is the overarching name for the body of work that I have created over the past 7 years. It's been something that has been really close to my heart, and at times I felt like it's had a life of its own, taking me on many twists and turns. We really have been on a journey together. When I began this work initially, it came from my own feelings of disconnection, which I talk about in the earlier episodes of the podcast. Also, the recognition that we needed a deeper culture of care in the environments that we live and work in. I think we've all had experiences, both personally and professionally, where we haven't felt heard, seen, or understood. And when our concerns have been dismissed, I think we'll have all felt unsupported, not valued, and protected at some point in our lives. We will have been in places where we've been told that it's a safe place when actually there has been nothing that felt safe about it at all. And we would have experienced rejection. It's all part of life. It's all part of being human, not getting a job or rejection through dating and relationships. That really hurt as a human being. This world that we're living in, it's incredibly beautiful and has so much possibility and potential. We also can't ignore that the world feels fragmented, disconnected, unstable, and unsafe at times, with a leadership that seems to care more about their own interests than the people that they're serving. We have people that feel unsafe to have difficult conversations, words that need to be said and heard, but are often rejected because our nervous systems are so broken that we cannot take another person's opinion on. It just feels too overwhelming, too unsafe. This morning, I saw a post on Instagram, and the post heading was Signs of a Loser. So, the signs for a loser are settling for far less than their potential, having no passion in life, not willing to change bad views, or no passion or purpose for what we do. And I was a bit taken aback by it, really, because I thought, well, haven't we all experienced those at some point in our lives? Haven't we all got stuck at some point? Isn't that all part of being human? Have we always, sometimes we've said bad things about ourselves. And I don't think it necessarily means that you're a loser. And actually, it made me feel quite sad because the loser signs were also signs of deep trauma, depression, anxiety. And I just thought, well, where is the recognition here and the connection that those signs of being a loser are actually someone that needs care, that they need nourishment and nurturing by themselves and by others as well. In our modern day society, self-care is time out, bath, spa, the gym, walking in nature, eating nourishing food. And it is, absolutely. But what if it was also about noticing you at a deeper level? For example, when was the last time you noticed the space at the back of your teeth? or the space in between your toes? What happened when you ate that piece of cake that you had? Did it feel good? Was it just what you needed at the right time? Or did you numb those feelings of goodness and shame and embarrassment, promising yourself to push harder at the gym tomorrow, punishing yourself for human you, just having a nice moment the day before? This is all part of caring for ourselves and noticing how we feel in a moment and noticing what our needs are. But often the world moves at a fast pace and we get so caught up with things that take away the distraction from ourselves that we often get left behind. I was doing some research around some information and I was particularly looking at what things are impacting our young people in the world today. And I stumbled across a site called All About School Leavers. And on that site, it reported in 2019 that the lack of employment opportunities has been ranked top of the list of challenges faced by young people that live in Britain today. The list had been compiled by education and health charity Central YMCA, and they surveyed 1,600 people aged between 16 and 25. And the lack of employment opportunities was the tip of the list of concerns for them. And then other areas that were on the list was failure to exceed in education system, issues related to body image, family problems, substance abuse, pressures of materialism, lack of affordable housing, pressures of 24-hour social media and networking, and crime. And there are other articles as well around the concerns of younger people. And I just felt, oh, it's such a shame, where do we give our young people hope? And then I started looking into it further, and there's been a couple of reports around people of working age in the UK, and then within that, there are some mental health statistics as well. I stumbled across an article that was available through the Health Foundation. It was written by Professor Peter Fonagy, which is the head in Division of Psychology and Language Sciences. And he wrote about understanding the crisis that we are experiencing in young people's mental health. And he stated that over the past decade, mental health problems amongst young people have been dramatically sparking concerns from parents, policymakers, and mental health professionals alike. And there's been over 3 million increase in working age individuals self-reporting long-term health conditions. And the sharpest rise in those is between age 16 and 34. In the UK, the burden on the NHS has surged too. So between 2000 and 2021 and 2022 and 2023, mental health referrals for children and young people aged between 10 and 24, mental health disorders now account for a staggering 45% of the overall disease burden, with suicide tragically the second leading cause of death. And while COVID-19 has had a contribution in all of this, the report refers to there being a bigger story here, and that the current crisis is actually the product of decades of longer changes in how people are raised, educated, and supported, which have contributed to the change in mental health landscape. The article goes on to say that adolescence and early adulthood have always been times of growth and uncertainty, but today's young people face pressures that are distinct from those faced by previous generations. And these pressures are rooted in biological and development factors, prolonged transitions to adulthood, and societal and systemic shifts. And I really feel like our culture in society doesn't match the support that our young people need. And I don't necessarily think this is only just about adolescence, that I think at some level that we're all feeling this in some way, in some shape or form. And in recent weeks, we have seen and heard about the drama created by Jack Thorne and Stephen Graham, Adolescence, which is available on Netflix, about the incel culture, which I have to be honest, I didn't really know much about it until I went looking. And I honestly didn't understand it, to be honest with you, at first. But then I came across a feminist cartoonist and writer, Lily O'Farrell, who had numerous conversations with teenagers and young men about the incel culture to try and understand more about it. And Lily shared what she had learned about incel in a cartoon that made it really easy to understand. I have to say, it absolutely blew my mind. And there are obvious concerns for both men and women, young girls and young boys. But in relation to my work and around connection, it's clearly a culture that is based on dehumanization and human rejection. And I think we seem to have these ideologies that have grown over the past few years around this. And then yesterday, I was also listening to Stephen Bartlett's podcast around masculinity and dating apps and the Lost Boys report by the Centre of Social Justice. And it just made me feel so sad. I cried to think that any human being could feel that bad about themselves. The thing is, I'm not really surprised by what we see, and I'm very inept at picking up nuances. And it's something that I saw perhaps around 14 years ago in the dating sphere, but I never would have thought it would all turn into something so loud and visible in what we're seeing today. However, by connecting what we see and hear and what we experience in our personal lives and places we live and work in around the types of human rejection, I started to create a body of work around connection. And as I said before, initially it was born out of my own disconnection and experience we have in our lives. I never thought for a minute it would grow into something. It was like little pieces of the puzzle kind of coming together. And for a long time, it didn't make sense. And I thought I had it and I would run with it and then it would fall flat on its face. But in this ever changing world, I would never, ever say that I have all the answers. But I do hope that this work helps someone somewhere to help them learn to love themselves, to notice, to pay attention to what they need, to live from a place of hope and resilience when things are tough. And that together we can create a better world and find a sense of connection with others. So the overarching name for the body of work I've created is the Connection Compass Framework. And the framework is a living tapestry of thought, feeling, emotion, and observation, evoking a deep sense of connection to the self with personal growth and a lasting cultural impact. The framework exists to create well-being and ability to thrive through a culture of care and connection, where people are truly heard, seen, and understood. And a large part of that is by sharing our own stories and listening to others. That is part of the work of the compass, so that we find connection by honouring our life journeys and how they've shaped us along the way. In this modern world that feels fragmented and disconnected, the framework is a guide to finding deeper connection with oneself, with nature, the environments that we live and work in, and each other. The Connection Compass takes us beyond the conventional ideas of care and connection relating to research, science, and life philosophies, therefore embracing a holistic approach that honors every layer of our human experience, navigating disconnection to the path of human connection. The objectives of the framework is to build foundational self-awareness and personal growth, to build strong connections and relationships, to have that expanding awareness and embrace new perspectives, strengthen culture and leadership, create a sustainable, thriving future, and nurture creativity for well-being. The connection compass itself consists of 2 compasses, an internal compass reflecting the internal world and the external compass reflecting the outer external world, each one impacting the other. The internal compass consists of 4 points: self, nature, heart, intuition, and each other. And the outer compass all consists of 4 points: the self, nature, culture of care, and the interconnected world. Around the 2 compasses are 16 elements that ebb and flow between the 2 compasses that support us to be well holistically. And what I mean by that is we are incorporating the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of our being. And I'll cover them another time in the future, but the starting point is always with the self, and the first thing we need to do is to notice. There are core values that uphold the compass, and they are authenticity and self-discovery, having harmony with nature, compassionate leadership, intentional presence, collaborative growth, and regenerative impact and compassionate change. To present this work like this to you has been a monumental milestone for me. I've lived and breathed this journey for 7 years. Like I said, I don't know all the answers. I just had a deep yearning and inner knowing that we need to live from a deeper place and in a more meaningful way to the one that we have been doing. I would have loved to have had this resource, to be honest with you, in my own late 20s and 30s for sure. Unlike all other wellbeing models, it bridges the gap between our inner and outer worlds, helping individuals and communities navigate disconnection and cultivate meaningful human connection. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Connection Compass. If you have any questions for me about the Connection Compass framework or the podcast, please contact either via Andrea L. Evans' Facebook page or the various details in the show notes. If you think this episode will help someone, please leave a review and remember to keep talking, keep connecting for a more interconnected world.